We are at the Gaza border right now. On the other side of that fence is Gaza. About 10 minutes, we're going to go in. We're at the Kerem crossing right now, where Israel allows hundreds of trucks of food aid into Gaza every single day. Of course, though, they're not responsible for distributing that food aid. There are protests all across the United States right now where college campuses are burning down because students claim that Gaza is in a state of level 5 starvation, famine, that they have no food, which evidently is not true. There are pallets and pallets of food just on the other side of that border. We're getting geared up now, and we're about to head into the Gaza Strip. This is Xavier DeRusso trying to figure out how a plate carrier works. Failing miserably. All right, we're on our way into the Gaza Strip right now. We've got Xavier in the back. Can't figure out how to clip his helmet. All right, so we just met up with the army. We're in a small convoy of vehicles, and we're about to head into the Gaza Strip. Here we go. Entering the Gaza Strip now.
We're entering Gaza right now.
Now we're in Gaza. So there's no oil in the Gaza Strip either. No fuel. Petroleum trucks right there. Tons of it.
Can I give you guys a little talking point? From UNRWA supposed to be doing their job as a refugee agency for the UN. And they should be calling the international community to saying, get these people out of here so we can fight, so Israel can fight a clean and fast war. They get medical care and they get treatment.
That just goes to show how intertwined the UN is with Hamas.
I mean, it's not even that. This is how much the international community has so much contempt for the people that they're purporting to support.
Yeah.
They have contempt for them. Do you agree? He's our driver. What's your name?
No.
No.
I'm a soldier.
Okay.
No.
Are these guys the UN guys?
Don't get me messed with the...
You're not a soldier. You're a hero.
Right now I'm a soldier.
Is that Siwapa? They're just sitting here.
Pallets and pallets of food.
Pallets and pallets of food.
Going nowhere.
Yeah. Maybe we'll say, like, wow, they wouldn't get that. They wouldn't get that, you know.
No food in Gaza.
Palestinian workers.
Look at all that.
You know, just working for Kogat.
So much food in Gaza. So here we are in the Gaza Strip where there is allegedly no food aid, level 5 starvation, famine. There's no food in the Gaza Strip. What's all I don't know what all this is behind me. It looks like food. It smells like food. Sitting on pallets marked with labels that indicate they're food. Tons of food. Just endless amounts of food. Look at that. It's not even just this area. It's like over here. Look at this. We have flour here. Flour. What's this over here? I can't tell because I can't read Hebrew, but it's something. Oh, wait. Does it? No, it doesn't say. Vegetables. Just cans and cans of vegetables. You could feed so many people chickpeas. You could feed so many people with this stuff. What do we have over here? Looks like more chickpeas. Like, look at just endless amounts of food. And over that fence, there's more food. Just sitting on pallets, going nowhere. We have soup here. Ramen. Just endless amounts of food. The video will resume in just a second, but I wanted to add some important context. So I've posted some clips of this video online, and there have been some concerns, so I wanted to put them to bed. So what this is a UN pickup site. That means that all of the food, all of the fuel that you see in this video has passed fully IDF inspection, and there is no limit on the amount of food trucks that can pass through the Kerem-Shalom crossing, the Israeli border, in a given day. As many that can pass inspection are allowed to come in. So from this point, within the Gaza Strip, the UN is supposed to come and load all of this food food and fuel onto trucks and then take it to the population, whether that's in Rafah or Gaza City. Wherever they are, the UN is supposed to take it to them. Now, this process is bottlenecked, and it's bottlenecked because per their own reporting, despite the fact that they like to blame the IDF for distribution problems, it's not the IDF's responsibility to distribute. Per the UN's own reporting, only 7% of all of their distribution trucks, that's after they load the food from this spot onto trucks, only 7% of those trucks actually make it to the population because the other 93% are raided by armed gangs or Hamas. That's per their own reporting. So any claims of famine generally are going to be either directly from the UN or from sources that use UN figures. So per their own reporting, the reason people aren't eating is because Hamas and armed gangs steal the food, not because the IDF isn't allowing it to pass inspection. A lot of people are asking, what does this video prove? What could it prove? We knew there's food in the Gaza Strip, which isn't what they were claiming before all my reporting in the Gaza Strip was released. They claimed that there was no food in the Gaza Strip and that the IDF wouldn't allow it in. What this video proves is that there is food in the Gaza Strip, and that the reason people aren't eating, because I'm not denying that there is hunger in the Gaza Strip, the reason that people are not eating is not because the IDF isn't allowing food into the Strip, it's because the food aid distribution process is bottlenecked by Hamas and armed gangs, not the IDF. It just keeps going. When you think it's going to end, it keeps going. So much food. We are at the UN Humanitarian Zone just outside of Rafah right now. As you can see, endless amounts of food behind me. On the other side, there's tons of food, pallets and pallets that just go on forever. There are riots on college campuses all across the United States and Europe right now because they claim that Gaza is in a state of level 5 starvation famine, but there are endless amounts of food here. The reason that there is starvation in some places is because the UN refuses to work with the GHF and refuses to distribute this food and put it in the hands of the people who need it. In the Krim Shalom crossing, the IDF allows hundreds of trucks of food aid into Gaza every single day. The food is here. The IDF is not responsible for distributing it. The humanitarian organizations who have voluntarily taken responsibility are responsible. Something else I'd like you guys to notice from this footage, not a single UN worker here. You'll see, well, I can't record soldiers, but there are soldiers here. You might see some with their faces blurred out or whatever. Not a single UN humanitarian aid worker that is here. What is this? Looks like charcoal fuel. Charcoal fuel here, tons of it. Ridiculous. There is absolutely aid in the Gaza Strip. There is absolutely fuel. We saw petroleum trucks, tankers full of petroleum on our way into the Gaza Strip just after we crossed the border. Now we're here, there's food everywhere. There's charcoal fuel, there's water, pallets of water.
This is food waiting for the international community. Israel has facilitated more aid into Gaza than the international organizations are able to pick up. Israel in recent weeks declared a ceasefire on aid, on fighting in different areas, has approved private sector to distribute aid, has approved more and more organizations, has put no limit on aid going into Gaza, has approved everyday airdrops from essentially any country who does the process with us. And yet they are claiming against Israel. But every day, if you come here, every day for 3 months now, there's aid waiting for the international community.
Let me have a last question. Israel provide the energy. Israel provide electricity, the fuel to Gaza. Israel provide the food and the other everyday use products to the enemy. Or don't you think that you still stay alive, this terror organization, with this supplement, or Israel doesn't dare to stop or block those kind of supplement to finish the whole conflict?
Israel is committed to our values, committed to international law, and wars with Hamas and not the people of Gaza. We're doing everything we can to separate between Hamas and the people of Gaza, and Hamas is doing everything they can to hide behind the people of Gaza. But that doesn't mean that we will not bring aid into Gaza. That means we're trying to find new solutions to bring aid without Hamas being able to put their hands on it, like the distribution sites of the GHF. But Israel is committed to bringing aid into Gaza, committed to facilitating aid to the people of Gaza, people in need.
Just heard a pretty big boom come from that way. I don't know what it was, but a bunch of soldiers ran that direction, so I'm just gonna come over here. Keep hearing booms. We're gonna now go try to interview a spokesperson for the IDF and see what they have to say and what they make of this whole situation. Obviously, there's a lot of food and other supplies behind us. If you had an estimate, or do you have an estimate of how many people could be fed just by the food that's in this area?
So we are in Gaza. This is food that has been approved and transferred, finished a security checkup by Israel and waiting for the international community to pick it up. There are about over 700 trucks worth of aid here waiting to be picked up, which is more than enough for the entire population of Gaza for several days. So this is enough food for the entire population of Gaza for multiple days, waiting to be picked up by the international community. This is aid that has passed anything regarding Israel. So it's been approved, transferred, checked, everything, and it's right now in Gaza waiting for the international community to just pick it up and distribute it.
And to be clear, this is just one small site within the Gaza Strip that contains this amount of food, right?
This is actually the largest site, the largest crossing. This is the Kerem crossing, which is the largest crossing of aid into Gaza. There's additional more points, but this is the main point actually.
Okay, but there are like other sites that have enough food to feed significant amounts of people.
Yeah.
This isn't everything that is here.
No, this isn't everything.
So tell me why the food sits here, or how often does this food clear out and new food comes in?
Every day for the last 3 months, there has been piles and piles of food. Sometimes it's 200 trucks worth, sometimes it's 1,000 trucks worth. Every day there's trucks. If you come here every day for 3 months, there have been hundreds of trucks worth of aid waiting to be picked up by the international community. They have different reasons. It's not safe. It's hard. You know, it's a war zone. Some of the claims are legit. Sometimes I think they could work faster and they should work faster. Before we put out the drone footage from here a few weeks ago, showing the world there's 1,000 trucks worth of aid waiting to be picked up, they picked up 0 aid 5 days in a row. And after we put out that video, they picked up 600 trucks in 3 days. So I think there's also an issue of how fast they do it and how fast do they deal with the problems. We are keen to help them with all those problems. We've set out humanitarian routes. We've set out ceasefire in different areas of Gaza for them to operate. We're communicating with them on a daily basis in the joint war room, finding solutions for problems, and making sure there's enough aid in Gaza. And right here, there's enough aid for the entire population of Gaza.
And all of this food aid here passed through Israel to get here.
That's it. It's approved and it's just ready to be picked up.
Is there currently any blocking of food aid from the Israel side into here? Does Israel do anything to block the entrance of food into Gaza?
None. And you can walk around and see different stickers from different countries, and Israel said our policy has been very clear. We're not putting any limit on aid going into Gaza. We have invited countries to participate in this effort. Any country who wants to drop aid is welcome. We've had a few countries participate in that in recent days. We said also any country who wants to receive Gazans who need medical care, expert medical care to their hospitals around the world are also welcome. We'll facilitate that. We do that every week. And we're not putting any limit on aid going into Gaza except for security reasons.
How many countries have taken Israel up on the offer to take Gazans into their hospitals?
Well, happily we see more and more, but not enough. And every week there's a few dozen Gazans going out, and in some cases they have to wait to find a hospital that will be willing to accept them. It's something we're dealing with. I don't want to shame any countries, but it's an effort that could be bigger, and we're willing to facilitate more of it.
Which countries have taken Gazans?
You know, one case recently was a case in Italy where there was a kid who had a disease, a genetic disease, and they put out a picture of him starving. He's actually in Italy getting taken care of. Israel facilitate their exit. Some people went to Jordan and more countries. I don't want to just say on the top of my head, but there's been a few countries in Europe and in the region that were willing to take people from Gaza that needed medical care.
What would you say to people who say that Israel's not doing enough to get this aid to the Gazans, or that you guys are occupying the Gaza Strip and therefore it's your responsibility to provide the food and bring it, as the army to the people?
I'd say that in the history of mankind, there haven't been a lot of groups that are more vile and horrible than this terror group we're facing, that's hiding behind civilians, that's stealing aid from them, that's starving our hostages. essentially getting fat while the people of Gaza suffer, while our hostages suffer. And in opposed to that, there has never been a military, and not one of that. There has never been a military that has done so much for the population they're facing in this war. There's never been. Almost 2 million tons of aid have entered Gaza. Israel facilitated a polio vaccination for the people of Gaza. We are putting in ceasefires. We're doing things that have never been seen in the world. There's a unit. I actually sat there today with the commander of the unit. Their whole purpose is to give advance warning to the population so they can get out of harm's way. Any person who's been in an army for more than a week will tell you the most important thing, element of surprise. Israel actually, through this entire war for almost 2 years, every serious incident where we have ground troops going in, we give a heads up to the enemy, telling them we're coming in, just so the civilians could get away out of harm's way. You know, when we've done that in different areas where it was larger scale, we even provided an alternative place that had an influx of humanitarian support there. You know, an operation in Rafah, there was almost 1.4 million people. They all got a chance to get out of harm's way, and essentially no civilians were injured or killed in the operations in Rafah. So what Israel is doing is unprecedented. Any person who has been here and seen it with their own eyes, have seen the mountain of food going into Gaza, will not claim that Israel is trying to starve Gaza. Understand there's a massive media war against Israel. We are definitely outnumbered in the media war, but the truth must be told, and you can see the aid here waiting to be picked up. This is aid that Israel approved. This has been the situation every single day for 3 months now, and I think, and I've heard it multiple times from generals, from security experts from around the world. Anyone who comes here to see it with their own eyes, to experience it, tells us that no war in modern history, no army in modern history has done so much for the population that they're facing, that the enemy is hiding amongst that population.
This is going to be a tough one, and it's not a gotcha. What would you say to the people who, specifically on places like X, claim that when Palestinians come to places like here or the GHF, small children are shot and killed by the IDF?
Well, I've been there. You know, I've heard reports, and as a spokesperson, I like to go and see things with my own eyes. And I got to spend a day there, see the troops shoot at no one, and on the way back get questions from reporters why we killed civilians. And when I pushed back and said I was there, that's fake news, they rechecked and said, well, someone was killed 2 miles away. 2 miles away is an area where a war is conducted by soldiers and trying to get terrorists. Just today we had an incident where 15 terrorists 2 miles from here got out of tunnels, approached our troops, got one soldier severely injured. We were able to eliminate approximately 10 of those terrorists. But there's real fighting going on. So there's incidents. War is very, very complicated, but I've been there. I've spoken to the troops. I know that IDF troops are not targeting civilians. Obviously, war is complicated. This is a long and hard war. Hamas does not wear a uniform. Hamas hides behind civilians. Hamas plans. We have indications of that. They've also actually thrown grenades at those distribution sites, but Hamas hides behind civilians and plans on carrying out terror attacks against our troops, and we're doing everything to improve the situation, to make sure it's better. We've done a lot of practical things. I don't know if this is interesting, but you know, the distribution sites are an area where we have operational control on, and there's specific hours to go in. Sometimes there's incidents not in the hours or not close to the distribution sites that happen. Those are, you know, fighting scenarios. And just imagine 10 soldiers standing here, and there's a road here, and the road is very clear. There's sandbars on both sides, and then people start running towards them when you have intelligence of Hamas wanting to carry out a terror attack. So there's some situations like that, but generally speaking, lately and in recent weeks, there's hardly been any incidents. I think the local population have understood the process. Hamas, we're able to deal with in an effective way, and we've been able to support this important effort without having anyone injured or killed in the process. There was one incident where a terrorist was approaching the troops on a motorcycle, but other than that, for the last few months, last few weeks, there have been no incidents, and still every day we get media requests and questions about why were people dying, and there's zero proof of that. It's a campaign run by Hamas.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. All right, that's a wrap. We're about to leave the Gaza Strip. We've heard a couple booms, and the army is telling us we gotta go, so we're gonna go. All right, guys. So I just left the second most active war zone in the entire world, and here we are on the outside of the Gaza Strip, back in friendly territory.